So my parents were here, and it was like we had finished dinner. My family came over. We hung out. We played with the nephews, and like my parents go to bed kind of early, and so it was like past 10 o'clock, which is late for them. And I was like, Mom, Dad, can I ask you for one more favor before we leave town? They're like, what, son? I said, are you willing to do a podcast episode? And my parents are very selfless people. They love to help. They said, sure, son, whatever. So I drove my poor parents to the church. It's pitch black. No one's here. I got to come in and then turn on the lights. And then we sat down and had a conversation. I could tell they were tired. And so maybe that's another good reason why we weren't recording, because they were kind of tired. You could see it, but they did a good job. It took them a while to open up, but they shared stuff about their ministry, because I mean they did children's ministry for 35 years.
That's faithfulness right there.
Yeah, and they talk about that a little bit, and so it was fun. And they were the first ones to officially use our headphones, which we're using right now.
Yeah, I feel.
And
fancy.
how is it?
I feel fancy.
Don't you? You can hear me a lot clearer, can't you?
Oh yeah, it's very crisp.
And then if we have 3 people or 4 people, you'll really hear what's going on. So the next time we have cameras set up for I don't know when, you'll see us. We're gonna look legit.
I think the nice thing about the headphones is if we have 4 people.
Definitely.
Sometimes, a little distance away, things are going on.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard to hear exactly what someone says, so these will definitely help us not mishear something said.
And all people listening, all 2 of you listening, we've been a little late on episodes. It's been kind of busy. Pastor Scott was in Brazil for how many days?
10 days.
Yep. And then I had family in town. We had a family member pass away, so we had a funeral, and there was just a lot happening, and it's summer, and so we apologize. We're going to get back into the groove late summer into the fall.
Yep. We'll do a Brazil episode.
Yeah, and upcoming is Pastor Scott's 2 interns. That's coming up soon.
Yeah, so we have 3 interns. One of them started late this summer, so I will have
that's
all of them.
That'll be fun.
So that'll probably be one of our first four people episodes. So.
That'll be fun. And then we were trying to get Pastor Johnny. No promises. He will be on. It's just his busy is crazy. His schedule is kind of crazy. And so we'll try to get him. This episode today is my parents, Arnold and Zulema Parrales. They are wonderful people. I know I'm being biased, but they really are. And they share a little bit about their ministry, and they give tips on people that want to do ministry, and they share some funny stories and funny memories, and it's just really great. So we hope you guys enjoy this. I'm here with my mom and my dad. So I'm going to let y'all introduce yourselves. Dad, I'll let you go first.
I'm Arnold Parrales Jr., and it's a pleasure to be here at Sioux City at Restoration Church.
There we go. And Mama, what's your name?
I am Zulema Parrales.
That's it. That's good. Mom and Dad are here. My sister also came, Miriam, and her husband, Habakkuk, and their 3 kids, Adam, Judah, and Selah, right? How old are they?
Adam is 6, and Judah is 4, and Selah is 7 months.
Okay, yeah. And we just all had dinner together, right, at my house. Mm-hmm. And our house is a nice house, but it's not very big. I mean, it's a good size, right?
Right.
But it gets kind of full with a lot of people, but it's been nice. So what do y'all think of Iowa? Do y'all like Iowa?
It's beautiful. I like one thing I like about Iowa versus hometown is the hometown is flat. Iowa has a lot of hills, which adds more attraction to the landscape.
You like the hills?
I like the hills, and I like the people, too. People are very kind over here.
And then y'all like the weather?
The weather is awesome, too.
The cool temperatures?
The cool temperature.
Yes.
Houston was hot. Nothing wrong against Houston, but Iowa is just is nice. We enjoy the people here, too.
Yeah, so today you had y'all have been here on a Sunday before, but y'all came to services today. Today is Sunday. I'm not sure when this will post, but y'all came to all 3 services, correct?
Yes. All 3 services.
Not only did y'all come to all 3 services, but you came with me. I come in at 6 a.m., and my parents came with me, and y'all got to experience what my Sunday is like every week. And what was it like? What was the experience?
Well, first of all, I didn't mind waking up early because we have been used to that in the ministry that we were in. Is being there early and setting up everything. And I admire the work that the Lord has given my son, Aaron, and his dedication to his work that he's doing, and the people that are here. I know that y'all have become part of his family also.
Yeah, definitely.
While we're not here close by, but I know that he's well taken care of.
Yeah,
here
it is nice.
with all the love.
So y'all got the true experience of what I go through every Sunday. And then Dad got to be part of 11:30.
That's right. I was surprised.
And I was gonna say it was a surprise. I called you up, and what was your reaction? Initial reaction?
Well, I could not believe it. I was shocked, but it was a good shock. But I was pleased also, because I was expecting to see just you and Miriam perform. But when you called me up, it was a blessing for me to once again be able to minister with you and Miriam, my two most adorable children.
Yes.
It was an awesome experience.
So what was so awesome was I can't remember the last time the three of us sang together on a church.
In a long time,
Long
long
time.
time ago. Yes.
So my sister Miriam is the oldest. Well, there's only two of us, Miriam and me. And Miriam and her husband are very involved at their church in Houston called Spring First, and they're very key worship leaders at their church. And Dad helps them with their Spanish service. Is that correct?
Yes.
They
that's
do
correct.
like a Spanish service on Fridays, right?
Yes.
And they do like a Spanish worship thing, and you help. Do you play? Do you sing? What do you do for them?
Once in a while, when I'm needed, I play the bass for them, and I also do the third voice in the Persian worship.
Harmony?
Harmony, yes, I harmonize with
Has
them.
that been nice being involved again?
Yes,
somewhere?
It's nice again being involved in the music ministry. With my daughter there.
And with your daughter
For
and son-in-law, because
Miriam,
Habakkuk
yes.
plays piano.
Habakkuk, your son-in-law, he plays the piano. Yes,
He
plays the
played a
piano.
little bit this morning too. And then, Mama, what are you doing during the worship? What do you do?
Well, at this time, I help my daughter with her baby,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons I came in early today too.
Yeah, that's the other
because
reason.
I was taking care of Selah while Miriam does her praise and worship. But I love doing it, and I just enjoy it, and I praise the Lord that I'm able to do that for her so that she can minister.
Yeah.
And I take care of Selah.
Do y'all like being grandparents?
Oh yes,
Yes.
it's a very unique feeling.
Is it?
Very unique feeling.
Yeah.
And we love our grandkids. They're
Yeah.
precious to us.
Yeah. So I don't remember if y'all had a plan of what y'all wanted to be called. So how did that come about? Did they choose? How did that happen? Because I think originally Mom said she wanted to be called Grandma because we used to call your mom Grandma.
Yes.
And then I don't remember did you ever say what she wanted to be called or no, as a grandparent?
I never did, but what I did before our first grandchild was born, I spoke with my sister Ligia, which is after me. I asked her what did her grandkids call her. She explained to me. I actually grandfather in Spanish is abuelito, and grandmother in Spanish is abuelita. So my sister tried to teach her first grandkids how to say abuelito and abuelita, and since they are so limited with the speech, they could only say lito, lita. So I told her, I got it. I'm gonna teach our kids to call our grandkids to call us lito and lita.
That's where it came from.
So it's style like that.
I like it. We love it. We think it's really
I
cute.
think it's unique.
Unique. We love it. We think it's really cute. And they know how to say that very well. Lito, Lita.
Oh yes, they pronounce it without any difficulty at all.
I remember when it was just Adam and he was very little, he could say Lito and Lita really well.
Yes.
And so that's really neat. I like that y'all have your unique title there. But Dad, I have specific questions for both of you. And so this is just a free conversation. So feel free to cut me off or ask a question or interject or whatever. But Dad, people ask me all the time about you. They ask where you're from. And I say, well, he was born in the United States, right?
Yes.
But his family's from Nicaragua.
That's correct.
But I realized I know parts of the story, but I can never connect the dots. I know you grew up in Nicaragua. I know you came to school in the States and back and forth, but I don't know the order. Can you clarify? I never knew the order. I know you. So you're born in the United States.
Yes.
Right?
I was born in San Antonio. My parents came from Nicaragua. Actually, they came to the States only to study at a Bible seminary.
That's the reason they came to the States.
That's why they came to the States,
To
yes.
the Bible school.
And then go back to Nicaragua and minister there. So when they came here, my mom was pregnant of me. They flew to San Antonio in August 1952, which was a long time. And then I was born in September. And while they were in Bible school, I was there and living in the dorm with my parents, of course, newborn. We were there, I believe, 2 or 3 years, something like that. I can't remember.
You were in the dorm at the Bible school.
I was at the dorm
living with them.
in the Bible school, yes. And then when they finished school, of course, they went back to Nicaragua. And then before I started school, my dad wanted me to come back to the States where I was born. So from Nicaragua, they sent me to Houston with my grandparents on my dad's side. And I spent a year or 2 years at my aunt's house, mi tía Mandita.
Diamantita.
Yes, so I studied kindergarten here in Houston. I
Oh,
studied
okay.
kindergarten in Houston. I went to school here from kindergarten to second grade. Then at second grade, I was sent back to Nicaragua. And in Nicaragua, I spent 2 years in Nicaragua when I was second and third grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then in third grade, I was sent back to Houston with the rest of my siblings. I'm the oldest of six.
Yeah, the oldest of six.
Oldest of six. So
You went back and forth twice then.
twice. Yeah. So in '64 is when I came back from Nicaragua with my siblings, and since 1964 we've been here in the States. So actually, I was raised here in the States.
So back home in the church we grew up in, El Tabernáculo,
Mm-hmm.
we were there for many years. A lot of people kept saying, "Brother Arnold, you're from Nicaragua,"
Yes.
and you would correct them. You would make sure to say, "No, I'm American,"
There's
and
a
they'd say, "No,
connection,
brother,
yes.
you're from Nicaragua."
Right. Yes. A lot of people think I
Yeah.
was. See, they don't know.
Right.
They think that I was born in Nicaragua,
Uh-huh.
and but no, I was born here in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and we, by the way, we attended our church for 60 years to be exact.
60.
From
Wow.
1964 till this year.
Wow.
1920.
And then when your parents came, Abuelito and Abuelita came to the States, that's the church they attended, right?
Yes.
Is that where they went?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For even more than that then. So our family's been at that church for
Longer than that.
many years,
Yes.
many generations.
Yes. Actually, my aunt Amanda Joyner, she was
Was
there.
she the first one that went?
Yes, and she's the one that brought my parents to.
Oh, I didn't know
To
that.
that church. Yes.
So Tia Mandita was there first.
Yes.
And then she introduced Abuelito and Abuelita to
Yes.
that church, and then
Yes.
y'all grew up there.
Yes.
And then we grew up there.
We grew up there.
And then Adam for a little bit was there.
A little bit. Yes.
Yeah, that's
correct.
amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, and then Mom, they asked me the same question about you, and I know nothing about your family history. So I know that Grandma was born in the States, right?
Yes.
She wasn't born in Mexico, right?
No, she was not born in.
None of your family was, right?
No.
None of them.
No, we're all from Kingsville,
Kingsville,
down the valley.
the ranch, right? The
That's
valley.
where the Assemblies of God started.
The
in,
Hispanic Assemblies of God.
The Hispanic Assembly of God at Kingsville, Texas.
And y'all were part of that history.
Mm-hmm.
And Grandma,
Well-
your mom went to that church, or grew up in that
Yes.
church or something.
She, what happened is my dad was the one who knew the Lord,
Uh-huh.
and had been real sick with asthma and was not quite making it. And my dad goes, "We need to take her to church so they can pray for her."
Uh-huh.
And the Lord, my mother saw the Lord's healing in me, and the Lord healed me, and I've never have.
You
that
had asthma?
problem. I had asthma.
You did?
Yes, when I
I
was.
didn't know
little.
that.
Yes.
And the Lord healed you?
And the Lord healed me, and that's when my mother believed in the Lord
I didn't know
and
that.
gave her life to the Lord. Totally, my mother
Oh my gosh.
gave her life to the Lord.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, Grandma trained y'all in the way and
In the ways of
learned the
the
Lord,
Lord,
and then
yes.
y'all raised us
Had-
the same way.
yes, she had a love for the Lord, and she loved the pastors. She
Mm-hmm.
would do a lot for the pastors. She didn't preach, she didn't teach, but she did a lot of cooking, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of cleaning. She would do anything that the church needed.
She's a hard
And
worker. I
I've
remember Grandma
learned
was a
from
hard
her.
worker.
I learned that
Yeah.
from her.
Yeah, you take
Yes.
after her in that too. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Dad is one of 6 siblings, and you are one of
4.
4. There's 3 sisters, one
Two
brother,
sisters
2
and one
sisters
brother.
and one brother.
Mhm.
One that's 3. Wait, 2 sisters. Oh, plus you.
Plus
That's
me.
4. And your brother is a pastor,
My brother's a pastor.
Uncle Joe
yes.
in
Mhm.
Houston. It's a church called is it Inspire? Is that what it's
Inspired
called?
Church. yes.
Inspire Houston, I think, or Inspire Church.
Inspired Church.
And Uncle Joe is not the main pastor, but he's the pastor of the Spanish
Spanish,
congregation,
Yes.
which I know, Dad, get a load of this. They're called Inspire Church. I watch them for inspiration because their worship
good.
is awesome. Y'all have been, right? Y'all have been a
Yes.
couple times.
there, yes.
Yes.
It would describe their worship. What are they like? The worship team there?
They're awesome too. I mean, they have a real nice worship team. They
Yeah.
harmonize well. I like their songs. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. You really can feel God's presence.
I
there.
like them because they kind of do what I envision here while I'm at a Restoration Church. They do all styles. They do the
Yes, I
new
like
stuff.
that. Mhm.
And then the very first time I watched, I remember they opened with a modern song, like, songs they do in English, but they translated it. Which, first of all, their translations are really good. That's another reason I like watching them. Because sometimes I see them and I'm like, hey, we do that song in English. We can do it in Spanish now. But I remember I watched, and then they went into Tu Fidelidad, which is a classic older song. And there was a violin player. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, oh my goodness. And ever since then, I've watched almost every Sunday to get inspiration because I love their worship. And that's what I want to see here. And that's what we are doing here, by the way, is we're doing some of the old, some of the new. But I also like watching because I like hearing Uncle Joe preach too. because I like the way he preaches.
Yes.
And it also helps me with my Spanish, which is another topic I wanted to go over here. So mom and dad are both bilingual. So real quick, did you learn Spanish first, Dad?
I learned actually both at the same time.
Both at the same
Both,
time?
Yes, yes.
Here in the States?
In the States and in Nicaragua. Yeah. And my dad, to make sure that we knew English, actually the first songs I learned as a kid were songs that our dad taught us in English.
What were they?
The first song that dad taught me was Jesus Loves Me, This I Know.
Okay.
And then my aunt used to play albums of the quartets back in those days. And
The Southern Gospel?
Southern Gospel quartets.
English?
English.
And that's how you learned your English?
That's how I do my English, yes. Plus,
Interesting.
my dad and my aunt will always speak to me in English, both English and Spanish.
Tia Mandita was bilingual, right?
She's bilingual, yes.
She was?
Yes, she was bilingual.
And she was married to a white man
Yes, she
named
was married to
Joe.
a white man.
Uncle
They
Joe.
both went to seminary at the same time also.
I didn't know that
My aunt
either.
And my Uncle Joe went to Bible seminary.
And he was bilingual too.
He was bilingual, yes.
A white man
He
who'd
learned Spanish later, but he was very well in both languages.
He was fluent.
He was very fluent in both languages. You know, matter of fact, my aunt, my uncle, my mom and dad went to Bible school at the same time.
Oh,
In
they
the
all
same
went
school.
to
Yes,
the same school. I didn't know that either.
they were in the same choir too.
See, I told you I don't know the stories. I don't know I know the parts, but I don't know the whole story.
Yes, yes, and also my aunt was also she plays several musical instruments too.
What did she play? Tia Mandita did?
Yes,
I didn't know that either.
she played mandolin. She played the mandolin, marimba, piano, guitar, accordion, and organ.
All by ear or
Both by ear music.
both of them?
Yes.
I never knew that about her.
Yes.
That's neat. And then, Mama, did you learn English or Spanish first? Do you remember?
I knew mostly Spanish because my mother spoke
She only
Spanish
knew
most of the
Spanish,
time.
yeah.
And when I came, we moved over here to Houston. I went to school and I learned my English there at school. I
Learned
did
English at
battle there
school.
for a little while, but
With the language?
yes, because my mom, especially like going to school, it was hard for us because we didn't know or understand the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And, my mom at that time couldn't help us because she only knew Spanish,
Yeah.
but the Lord helped me.
Did Grandpa know English or no? Your dad?
A little bit of English, not
Really?
very much. Not very
And
much.
Grandma didn't know any English.
No,
She
My
couldn't
grandma
speak.
never, no.
And then
Mom
did Abuelito I never met Abuelito. He passed away before I was born, but did he
Yes.
know English?
Yes.
And then does Abuelita? She kind of does.
Yes. Yeah. She understands English. She hardly
More-
speaks it, but she understands her English real well.
What's funny about Abuelita, she's still here, she's still living, is I call her very occasionally, sometimes I do, and I try to practice my Spanish with her, but then she wants to practice her English with me. So I talk to her in Spanish, she replies in English, and it's not productive. But anyway, so on that same topic too, here's my question for both of you. I have you recorded. Why did me and Miriam only learn English when we were younger? Was there any reason, or was it just, it's easier English?
I don't know really. We both communicated with you in Spanish. I mean in English.
Uh-huh.
That's the only regret I have that we didn't practice Spanish with neither you nor Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did practice some Spanish with Miriam.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, some, but
When she was little?
when she was little, but she was kind of hesitant about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess we just get used to our English, in our families.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, that's the only regret I have, of your childhood.
Well, we're catching up
Oh yeah, but I'm proud of both of you.
later in
You're
life.
doing good too, here, son. You're
Oh,
doing
thank
good with
you.
your Spanish.
Later in life,
Yeah.
And I told Miriam today, I said, be careful what you ask the Lord for, because I've been asking the Lord for opportunities to improve my Spanish, and now here we are with a bilingual
You're doing
service
good. You're
that we
doing
have
good.
every Sunday. Oh, thank
We're
you.
proud of you.
And then Miriam, too. Now she's leading
Yes.
worship in a fully Spanish service.
Yes.
And that's the Lord's giving us opportunities to improve our Spanish skills and catch up on what we were late on. But it wasn't just y'all. We had other friends who are my age who. Now here's what's crazy. Some of my friends, y'all know who they are. Some of their parents didn't speak any English, but then my friends, their kids only spoke English. How that happened, I don't know. You know what I mean? Some of our
Yes.
friends.
I think sometimes the children who learn their Spanish real good is because their parents talk to them in Spanish, and when they're home, they only talk Spanish.
Right.
So outside the house, they can speak English, but when they go inside,
Oh, I
it's
see.
all Spanish.
Yeah, that too.
Now we tried it. I know when we got married, I told my husband, I said, I want you to talk to me in Spanish
Uh-huh.
because I learned English, but then I needed more Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So then would carry a conversation, and it turned out English.
English.
And then I guess that's how we did it with the children too.
The other things of my
talk
friends in
English.
school was they specifically spoke Spanish because the school had such a good ESL program. So I had a lot of friends who, when I knew them in elementary school, they spoke very little English. But those same friends I went to middle school. By the time I got to high school, they were more fluent in English, because
yeah,
the
that's
school
what happened
taught
to me.
them.
I went to those classes.
And so Tori and I have discussed this when we have kids. I would like our kids to be bilingual.
That'd be good. Yes.
However, my wife does not speak any Spanish. Or what I said was she can learn with them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then she also turned to me and she goes, well, I want to be able to talk to my children. I said, well, you will. I think you can do both, right? They sell a lot of bilingual books and stuff, and that'll be new to me, but it'd be good. We have a cousin on dad's side. Is Marco the oldest grandkid? Do you know?
Yes,
yes,
he's the oldest.
Yes,
So
yes.
he has kids who I'm pretty sure are fluent in Spanish.
They're both
Oh, yes,
bilingual.
those-
Yeah, he started them really young,
Yes.
and they bought Spanish books and talked to them in Spanish, and now they're bilingual.
Yes.
And so you have to kind of start young. Like everything else, like instruments, you start young and they learn better. Language is the same way because the brain is so, developing and so curious and all that stuff, but that's pretty neat. I was also going to ask y'all about y'all's ministry because y'all are not strangers to ministry. You've done ministry for many years, even together, right?
Yes.
So, So was Dad already doing his ministry when y'all met? What is that? I don't know. Again, I don't know the timeline. So I know that you were born and raised in Nicaragua. Well, let's do that. Where did y'all meet? I don't think I know this story. Do you remember where y'all met or when y'all met?
Very easy.
Easy. Where'd y'all meet?
At church.
At church.
The same
Since
church.
we were teenagers.
So the Parrales, the Dad's family, when they came from Nicaragua, started attending that church. Did your family too go to
We came
the
from
same church?
Kingsville, and we went. We
Moved to Houston, and y'all
moved
ended
to
up at the
Houston.
same church,
We ended
and
up
that's where y'all met.
Yes.
How old were y'all?
Um,
Do you remember?
that was in 1964. I was born in 52. So what's the math right there? 52 to...
I wish Adam were here.
I
He'd
was,
tell us.
probably 12. I think I was 12.
Oh, y'all were young.
We were
Yes,
12.
I was 12 when I met her.
And then-
but of course, we didn't
Well,
know.
we didn't
Yeah.
know. We were
Uh-huh.
we went to. He had his Royal Ranger class. I
Uh-huh.
had my. They were
Missionettes.
missionettes then,
Yeah.
and we'd had activities. And we grew up. The youth.
Uh-huh.
He played the piano. I was directing.
Uh-huh.
And that's how we.
Y'all met at
got-
church.
we
Do you
met
remember
at
your first
church.
date? What it was?
Yes, it was at Dots restaurant.
what
He
is
took me to
Dots?
It's a restaurant. It's kind of like a Denny's restaurant.
Denny's?
We went after.
Was it
church.
just dinner? Or did y'all do a movie or?
Oh
No,
no, we
just-
didn't go to movies.
Just a dinner. That's all.
And that was it.
That was it.
Yes.
Dad, did you ask Mom's dad for permission to date her?
I no, I didn't. But I did ask her permission for her to marry me.
Of course, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But you had to meet her family and all that too, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And then you had to meet. But did you know Dad's family though? Because y'all went to church together.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew the sisters.
Both families were there, right?
Yeah, their sisters were in the same classes, Sunday school classes
Uh-huh.
together. They'd invite me to go to their house, and
I didn't know that y'all met so long ago. I didn't realize. I don't know. I didn't realize
yeah,
that.
it was just church.
Mhm.
We're so involved in the church, the
Right.
youth.
Mhm.
We went to the conventions. We knew
Mhm.
each other.
Mhm.
Did activities, and he was involved. I was involved with
Mhm.
activities too.
Yeah.
So
So y'all met at church, and then when did y'all start doing children's ministry? So for those listening, I think I mentioned before, we had our children's pastor on this podcast, and we were talking, and I mentioned that my parents did children's ministry for how long? How many years? Remember, 35?
35 years.
35 years. When did that start? Was that when y'all got married? Did that start when y'all started? Can y'all remember? I know it's a long time ago, but
Yeah, we started the ministry after we did
we came from Bible.
after we came from Bible school.
oh, so you
There was
graduated
an-
Bible school.
There was we came with Brother Cantu back to the church to Brother Cantu, and
Mhm.
we asked him what we could help him, and he said that yes, they needed
Oh, I didn't know
pastors
that.
and
so
the children's
so it wasn't that
ministry.
y'all were seeking children's ministry. That's just what the need was.
Yes,
And then it ended up being 35. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So anyone listening, just say yes. Be willing to say yes, right? Would you say that? Would you advise that?
Oh yes.
Be willing to say yes because you never know what it's going to lead to.
Mm-hmm.
Look at my parents. They just said, where's a need? And it ended up opening a door for a ministry they're a part of for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Brother Cantu said he needed help with that. And then did y'all know much about children's ministry? Did y'all learn about that in Bible school? Or did y'all just kind of have to get
well,
creative?
we had
or-
already worked in
Before
the
that.
children's department
did?
and
Okay.
Sunday school.
Yeah.
We helped with the children too. you know, the different ages
Yep.
where they needed help. I was young, we were young.
Uh-huh.
We'd help teach classes.
We all did it
That's
for
how
35
started.
years.
Yes.
And then on top of that, Dad also did music ministry, right?
Yes.
On top of that?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And then Mama, did you only do the kids ministry? You sang with Dad too, right?
I only did the kids ministry, but then he started the choir, so I started
That's right.
helping him in the choir. It was kind of hard though because I had worked with the children and I needed his help, and then he needed my help too. So we both helped each other, and then he started involving the children in the musical. So we did both adults and the children's ministry together.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how it went.
So that's the other thing, man. We can talk for so long, but Dad was our choir director at our church. How long did you do that for? Do you know?
Also 35 years.
Same thing.
Yes, 35 years.
How did the choir start? The choir at our church.
Well, it started even before we got married.
Uh-huh.
Actually, it started in 1973. 73.
Was it always under your direction?
Yes, but then I was absent from them because I started a group after that,
A singing group.
a singing group, quartet, for 3 years, and then I started a trio. We were together for 9 years, the trio. But then the choirs continue again after Bible school. We started the choir. Now, actually, I started the choir with the men first.
I remember that.
All-
I remember
all
I wasn't there,
choir.
but I remember you telling me that.
Yes, it was all male choir, and then later on we started adding ladies. So, and as you know, all the songs we did were also Southern gospel songs.
And you had to translate them, correct?
Yes, I translated most of the
From
songs.
English to Spanish.
Yes, English to Spanish. When the songs were not available in English, I inquired with the bookstore, with the publications, and they were not available in Spanish. So I translated the songs in Spanish. And with the choir, we traveled different places too. Different places we minister, and also with the musicals, and sometimes with the musicals, even with the children's church choir too. As you remember, you were part of it too.
Yes, I grew up with all that.
We did a lot of productions with the choir.
I grew up with all that. I remember the big musicals we used to do. I should show y'all some footage. Morningside, which is what our church used to be called, they used to do big productions too, big musicals. I said, I remember my dad was the director. He had to deal with all that, But you were in charge of the choir for 35 years. And I remember growing up when I was little, I would go to all the practices.
Yes.
And I'd go and you would rehearse during the week, late night.
Yes.
And I would sit there and hear all the harmonies. And I'd learn all the harmonies and learn all the lyrics. And I think it helped me learn how to sing music.
Yes.
I knew the alto harmony, I knew the soprano harmony. I knew when they were wrong, And that I have to thank you for that, because I think that's why I have an ear for music,
Praise God for that.
But you started us early too at home. You
yes.
play Southern
I did
gospel.
at home. I used to have you listen to the different voices, and I
remember.
I would quiz you and Miriam,
Yeah.
who's singing what group is that, what song is that, because I want to make sure that you had good ear training.
Yeah, I didn't understand at the time, but now I understand.
Now you
looking
don't.
back.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Praise
good.
God.
But 35 years of children's ministry and choir ministry. What would you say if someone listening is wanting to do ministry? What is some advice you would give them?
My advice to the person would be, whatever ministry you get involved in, be faithful to what you're doing. Be faithful. Be faithful. That's all I can say. One word: be faithful to what you're doing, and take it serious. And
Oh, that's good.
whenever you have a success, always give God the glory. Never say, I did it because of me. Because we are just a vessel that God is using us. Everything we do for the glory of God and to bless other people too.
One of my favorite lyrics from Andre Crouch's My Tribute is, just let me live my life.
Yes.
Let it be pleasing, Lord, to thee. And my favorite part says, and should I gain any praise,
right.
let it all go to
And
Calvary.
I thought you were headed that way too.
Yeah, that's my favorite
That's
lyric.
true.
Mama, do you have advice if someone wants to do ministry? Do you have any advice for them? Because you did it for 35 years.
Yes, just a lot of dedication, time, patience, and a willing heart. No matter how hard it gets, you just have to depend on God, that He's your leader, and just to focus on what you're doing, and know that the God is with you. God is with Him.
So that's another question I was going to ask was it always easy, those 35 years?
No, not always. Sometimes we were tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes we were tired, but we had a commitment. We had a thing to do for the Lord. Also, sometimes, sometimes you get too tired. Once in a while, take it easy.
Oh,
Take
yes.
a little vacation.
Time off is important.
Take a time off, but continue doing the work that you're doing.
And then with the choir, y'all went to Paraguay, Where else did y'all go?
We went to minister in Paraguay, Argentina, and Peru.
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 Those
yes.
were the only overseas trips y'all did.
Yes, yes.
And y'all went? Did y'all go all over the country or all over Texas?
Mainly all over Texas. The only place out of Texas we went to was New Orleans.
When was that?
Not New Orleans. New Iberia, Louisiana.
Yes, yeah.
When was that?
Yeah, but that was about 10 years ago or something like that. I can't recall.
Was I here?
No, you were not here. You were already here.
I was already here. Okay, I wasn't at Houston then.
So we went to Louisiana with the choir.
I didn't know that.
But the choir, but we ministered in different churches with the choir too. We were very busy with the choir. Yes.
Do y'all have any funny memories of ministry, whether it's a children's program or a choir program? Maybe things that went wrong or.
Well, one incident for one time we did a musical called I can't recall, but anyway, that's the one that we had the song "Open the Eyes of My Heart." Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. It was the name of the musical was Experiencing God. It was an Easter musical, and one of the actors was a senior citizen. He was in his 80s. He was going to play the part of Moses, and I was directing the choir, and I was trying to cue him, but Moses never came out. What happened is the brother that was doing the part, he fell asleep.
He did?
He fell asleep. Yes, he fell asleep.
And he missed his cue because he was asleep.
He missed his cue. So
Well,
that was the Moses.
the other night, we talked about another musical we did. It went very well. It's so well, we did it 3 times total. Was it Noel Jesus is Born?
Noel just born.
Where you had a certain part, someone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, tell that story.
Yeah, No Jesus is Born. It was a Christmas musical, and
It's, by the way, beautiful. My goodness, the music is beautiful.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. So that one we did it, and the gentleman that played the part of King Herod, that was a beautiful extra. I mean, good extra part that he had. He had a solo part that he was gonna do. He was gonna do it. Also, he was gonna act that out. And on the night of the program, I was waiting for him to at least. I thought maybe he was gonna be late. He never showed up. So on the last minute, I had to do his part.
As the director.
As the director, I was directing the choir. So when his part came in for his solo part, because back then they play a cassette tape.
Yeah.
And the cassette would not stop. It would just keep on going and going and going. So real quickly, I ran to the piano room, and like I did like Superman Clark Kent would do. I took off my jacket, my coat, real fast. I put on the robe, I put on a crown, and to make it more interesting, I found this stick that was laying there.
Oh,
and
you added that?
I added that, and I walked like King Herod had a hard time walking. I was stumbling, using the walking stick, and so I did his part. King Herod part. And then when it was time when his part was over, real fast, I ran back to the piano room. I took off the crown. I took off the robe. I just threw it on the floor because there was no time. It was time for the next song. I threw the stick on the floor, put on my suit, ran back to the audience, and I continued directing the choir.
So you did both.
And I did both, and I didn't notice until I saw the video. Since I had the crown, I didn't notice until I saw the video at home. I noticed that my hair was standing. That was when I used to have a lot of hair. And I looked like Daffy Duck. And
The hairdo.
because when I took off the crown,
It stayed up, the hair.
Yeah, stayed up the hair. So but that was one of the things that happened too.
So was that the second time y'all did that one, or the first time?
We did it 3 or 4 times.
Was that the second or third time?
That one was.
That was not the first one,
I don't
right?
remember. I think it was the
Because
second
what
time.
I want to say was, I remember there's another. I don't know if it was the same guy, but there was another guy that played that part, King Herod, and he was a larger, heavier set man. And you are very much not a heavy set man. You're very skinny. And I remember there was a comment made like, "Man, King Herod lost a lot of weight because you're skinny."
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, of course the Bible doesn't say.
Of course, we don't know, but
don't
our
know.
people, they had seen it, and
Yes,
so they're like, "Oh,
they have
what
this concept that
Yeah.
all kings are fat.
What
I don't
happened
know
to
why.
King? What happened to King Herod when you came
Yes.
out?"
I don't know.
That's funny. You also weren't just in charge of children's ministry. Y'all are our BGMC directors too, and we used to do big missions things. Correct?
Right.
Yes.
We used to go all out and dress up. Like, you had a very unique idea that I think they still do. Do you remember what it was? A parade of.
Oh yeah, we did the parade where everybody got a wagon and decorated in the country that they were going to be presenting, and then they would pull the children inside.
Toddlers.
Toddlers. It was
And-
mainly toddlers,
and
really.
wagons.
And the wagons decorated
That
in
was
the
a hit.
country, and the children dressed like it. And then we had a contest on the the decorations of the wagons, or was it a bike or whatever they used to pull the children.
It was a big hit.
And we collected
All
good
the
money for
phones
that.
came out, all the pictures, and I'm pretty sure they either still do it or they did it multiple times.
Yeah, they did.
That
They
was
did
really
do
neat.
multiple.
We did a lot of cool things for missions back in the day. I remember we used to do like a kids choir, the BGMC. There was a theme song we used to sing. We used to do big missions conventions, missions dinners. And y'all were usually in charge of that, right? Because y'all were the kids ministry, so y'all were also BGMC. So were you BGMC directors the whole time too, all 35 years too?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Do y'all still have buddy barrels or no? Do y'all still collect or no?
Yeah, they do have still the
Do
buddy.
y'all
Barrels.
have one or no?
I still have mine. I have yours.
Mine?
Also, yes.
Still?
I collect little penny money, put change in there, and turn them into to the BGMC coordinator that she has now.
I have one
have
too.
now.
It takes me longer to fill it up because no one pays with cash anymore.
I saw your buddy barrel
In the garage? You
in
saw
the
it?
garage.
Did you
yeah.
drop some change in it? Did you help
I
me?
thought
No.
about it. Yeah.
I don't remember how long it's been, but we rarely pay for stuff with cash, and so I always tell it's in the garage. I tell Tori, "You have any change? Put in the buddy barrel."
The buddy barrel.
And so I turn it in. So I'll ask you this question too, Mom. I know that buddy barrel was mainly for kids, but didn't we have adults that did it too?
Yes.
A lot
they
of
did.
adults, very
A lot
faithful.
of the adults collected their pennies or coins.
And they didn't just use buddy barrels. What else did they use? Do you remember? Stuff they'd put their coins in. They'd bring it to you. I remember.
Yeah, some of them had little bags or something, and they would bring me their change.
I remember socks.
The socks. That's what I was going to say. Socks. Yes, they did.
There was
But we did do a fundraiser where
Okay.
the kids decorated the socks and they put their
Okay,
change
yeah.
in the socks.
Uh-huh.
There was a young boy that he didn't have buddy barrel, but he would have a little bank, like a big King Kong, a gorilla bank.
And that's what he used?
That's what he used.
Yeah,
That's
the
the buddy
others-
barrel.
Whatever you
yeah,
got. Yeah.
yeah.
There's kind of every time we talk about it in staff meeting here, I'm joking, but I'm kind of not joking. We used to have a buddy barrel costume. You know what I'm talking about? Or
Yes.
did y'all have multiple ones, or am I only remembering one? I
Just
remember the one with the
one.
hula hoops.
The one.
Was
with
it
the
very
little hooks in it.
expensive?
No.
Did someone make it, or did y'all order it?
No, we made it because the National BGMC
Uh-huh.
send out booklets and how to make that buddy barrel.
Oh,
so
they did?
That's how we did.
Oh, that's
yeah,
neat.
The pattern was on that.
So it was basically like, for those who don't know what Buddy Barrel is, Google it real quick. Buddy Barrel. He is the mascot for
BGMC.
BGMC, which used to stand for Boys and Girls
Girls
Missionary
Missionary
Crusade, but
Crusade.
now it's called Boys and Girls Missionary Challenge.
Challengers, yeah.
And
challengers.
it's a way to encourage kids, elementary age, to collect money for missions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And so what they do is they have these things called buddy barrels. They're basically little barrels, and they're like a bank. And they kids collect coins and they bring it to the church, and we send it to different missions projects. And so anyway, Buddy is the mascot. Just like I said, Google Buddy Barrel, and you'll see what he looks like. I think he looks the same. And our church was very big in BGMC, and so we had this Buddy Barrel costume, and it was basically yellow material, yellow material with two hula hoops, one on the top, one on the bottom. And whoever had to wear it also had to wear these striped socks. You remember that?
Yeah.
Red and
Okay,
white.
what's that?
And correct me if I'm wrong, and gloves, white gloves. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if whoever was Buddy Barrel couldn't see, is that correct?
Well, the eyes had like
Holes?
the little. It was like
Little holes, right?
the little holes. It's like I don't forgot what it's called. They do projects with it. It had
Yeah.
like a little fence or something on the eye.
Like a little
Oh,
screen.
screen.
Yeah, a
But you
screen
can't see. So what I remember is whoever had Buddy Barrel, you always assign someone
to
There's-
walk
there-
up.
there's a
And
sp-
not
yeah,
only
yeah.
that, it's so
There's
the
a s-
kids could
There's a
run to
specific
it.
person that I have in
Yeah.
mind. I won't say their name, but she was very good at it. And but you always had to have a Buddy Barrel have a buddy because Buddy Barrel couldn't see.
See.
Yes, it was
Anyway,
fun.
there's a running joke I have here. I tell the staff, I said, I've always wanted to be Buddy Barrel. I've always wanted to dress up as Buddy Barrel, and I have to be careful because they may take me up on that one day. And so, but anyway, that's pretty neat that we do that. I have to say too that this is on here, and I have to say this to y'all. I'm really thankful for y'all's example of how to do ministry. I really do think that's why me and Miriam are doing what we're doing now, because we saw that y'all did it and we saw y'all's dedication. And I want to set the record straight, everyone listening. My parents never forced me or Miriam to do any of this stuff, right? Did y'all ever force us?
Never.
No.
They never forced us. Now, did they encourage us? Yes, but it was never forced. We were never pushed to do things we didn't want to do. What I really think is me and Miriam saw mom and dad's example, and we saw how much joy they got out of it, and I think that's why we do what we do. And now I'm a full-time worship pastor, and now Miriam is a very key volunteer at her church. And so I want to thank y'all for that, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So thank y'all for the example. And I also want to say that y'all did such a great job showing us how to live godly lives, because now that's a legacy that continues generation after generation. Miriam's kids are being raised in the Lord, and one day when the Lord gives me and Tori children, we're going to do the same thing, And Tori and I were just talking about, how blessed we are to have the families we have. Tori's family,
Yes.
y'all's family. We're so thankful, and I told Tori that our kids are going to be very blessed to have both sides, come from generations of believers. And so that's what I'm most thankful for. I know other families may have, things they maybe a company or, finances that they pass down, but we have I think the most precious legacy is serving the Lord. So thank you all for that, really. Before we go here, I just want to say that it was really great having y'all here this morning, Sunday. Y'all were also fortunate to go Friday to Young at Heart,
Yes.
our senior adult ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I know y'all told me about it, but our listeners haven't heard. How did that go? Did y'all enjoy that?
Oh yes, we sure did. Yeah, and they are all of them are very fond of Houston, and we're proud of you too.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, but yeah, we had a great time there. Brother Miguel gave us a chance to sing a couple of songs, which we did, and I led the congregation in an old classic song, and we had a great time too that Friday night. I enjoyed the fellowship, mainly the fellowship,
Oh, yes.
So
And I bet they loved that. I bet that was a
they
treat for
enjoyed it.
them.
Mhm.
Well, we love them too, and I enjoy seeing them, the seniors,
Mm-hmm.
and just talking to them and just giving them a handshake and a hug, just to see them, be there and to know that they love the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a privilege for them to be there.
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know.
they're a precious
It's-
community.
It's a precious.
And they go there. They meet it once a month. Actually now is kind of the best attendance, because in the winter when it gets cold, they don't want to come out, or they get sick, or they fall. And so he's been doing that for many years, Pastor Miguel, and
Yeah,
he's been
he's
really,
done a good job.
yeah,
He's done a good
he's been
job.
really dedicated, and
Brother Miguel.
he's been counting down to see you guys.
Yeah.
He always asks, when are they coming? When are they coming? I said, they're coming. I told him, actually, I said, hey, last month, I said, hey, my parents are coming to Young at Heart, and it was June. He goes, this month? I said, no, next month. And he goes, oh, I better be prepared for that one. And I'm like, no, you're always prepared.
Yeah, he did good. He made a good presentation.
Yeah, he's very dedicated. Him and Dora, they've done
His
ministry
wife
for
was
both of them.
many
Yes.
years together.
It's a beautiful job.
Which
Beautiful
would you
ministry.
also say that's another piece of advice is if your spouse is in the ministry, that means you're in the ministry, correct?
Yes.
And
You're-
some way or the other, some can do or help in speaking or whatever, but there's others that they work behind stage helping the husband, which is part of the ministry also.
You're in it,
know. Yes.
I can think of two examples.
You're in
One is my mother-in-law, Angie. She does not preach.
No.
She does not speak in public, but she is with Johnny, and she backs him up, and she goes to services. And there is actually an event that she does here. You came. It's called Share Fair.
Yes.
It's one of our biggest missions fundraiser, and she is in charge of that. That is ministry.
Yes.
The other example I can think of is my wife, Tori. She does not, she can sing, but she doesn't do worship. This morning, during 8:30, she was doing camera switching.
Yes.
During 10, she was doing the stream audio. Sometimes she's on a camera. Sometimes she's doing the slides. That's what it's about, and she understood that too. The board, when they interviewed us, they told us that. They said, it's funny actually, because they said, how are you going to be involved, Tori? And at first we thought, I don't know, maybe the kids ministry. But then she realized as a teacher, Monday through Friday, she's dealing with kids all day. When she comes on Sunday, she wants a break from kids, which that's not everyone. Some people want to do that, but I would have never thought that she would be doing what she does now.
Right.
She would have never thought that either. And I remember, too, because we have what's called ProPresenter, our slides, our lyrics. I said, Tori, you should try doing that. And she really enjoyed it. And now she's one of my go-to tech volunteers. And so anyway, like I said, if you yourself are not in ministry, if you're listening, but your spouse or significant others in ministry, you are in ministry with them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You are there with them.
True.
Because,
Helping each other in some way or the other.
and even just support.
Yes.
Because ministry, like we said earlier, is not always easy.
Yeah.
The best part of ministry is the people.
Well, it's like
The most
me.
difficult part of ministry, also the people.
Well, I don't want to leave out prayer.
Oh,
Also,
yes.
one of my main things that I do to my family, I know I see them singing together, and they were acting in the programs and the plays and everything. But I took them in prayer. I did tell them, I advised my husband, do it like this, or I gave him ideas, and he took my ideas and he did them. And that's another way is prayer also for the family. Fervent prayer.
That can also be very easily forgotten or left out. Is people get so involved, especially younger ministers. They get so excited. I'm a worship pastor. I'm gonna do all this music, or I'm gonna be I'm gonna be on the preaching team. I get to preach or lead young adults or youth or whatever. They forget about prayer. They forget to be backed up in that. They forget to be, their oil lamp is empty. It has to be filled. You're exactly right. Prayer is really important. So if you're listening and your significant other is in ministry, you are also in ministry. Same thing with our youth pastor. His wife doesn't preach, but she's there every Wednesday,
Yes.
and she's there. She teaches a Sunday school class sometimes, and that's really important. But yeah, so yeah, before we go, I just have to say thank you both, and I love you both very much.
We love you too, son.
And I'm so thankful for the family I have. I really am. And it's been really nice for people to see y'all and meet y'all and see where I'm from. I'm sad that I'm so far away. But I do miss Houston a lot. I miss Texas so much. I miss teaching a lot too, but I have faith that I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. And I want to thank y'all for your support in that too. I still remember the day when I called y'all and said that I applied for this job. I was actually very nervous to tell y'all that because I wasn't sure how y'all would take it. But y'all were very supportive. And thank you. And y'all are very excited for it. And so thank you for that. I have faith someday we'll all be close together. It's hard being far apart. Y'all have to drive. How long did it take? Oh, by the way, everyone listening, they drove here. They didn't fly here. How long did that take?
18 hours.
18 hours?
Well, we stopped
Driving.
because
But
of the children.
Y'all had, you had to stop for children, and y'all had how many drivers?
3
And y'all took, what were the shifts? How long?
3 hours average shift. But the only stops we made, that's when we stopped to eat, and that was it. Just to eat, but we continue driving.
Yeah, and then you get to do it again in a couple days.
I wanted to say something also,
Yeah.
and I want to thank the Lord for the calling that He put in your heart. And I remember when you went to Evangel and then stayed in Springfield
Missouri.
and then was Missouri, and then got the job as a band director. And I remember you telling me, Mom, if the Lord calls me, I want to do what He tells me to do. And I said, okay, mijo, whatever, we'll be praying about it. I remember that. And then when this opening came here in Iowa, it was not a surprise to me because you had already given your heart to the Lord and asked Him that. You told Him, I will do wherever, I will go where you want me to go. And I really do thank the Lord for the place He brought you to, and the family. Johnny and Angie are beautiful people, and the family that God has brought you into has been a blessing, and Tori too. I really praise the Lord for that. How the Lord called you into this ministry, how He worked you into it. It was a blessing.
Nothing was by
Blessing.
coincidence. Everything was perfect
No.
time. I met her, and the Lord already knew once I met Tori I was going to be here,
Yes.
Which is another thing, the people listening, when you wanted to be in the ministry, be ready to say yes to the call wherever the Lord takes you. You guys were in San Antonio, and the Lord eventually took y'all to Houston.
Brought us back to Houston.
Y'all didn't really want to leave San Antonio.
No, I didn't. I really liked San Antonio, but we came back to our home church.
You have to do what the Lord says, and that's the other thing, is that's the way the ministry works, is the Lord moves you. I mean, Pastor Johnny, for example, he's from Georgia, then he raised his kids in Dallas, and now look where he is. He's in Iowa. I would have never thought that. I mean, if someone would have told me in high school, hey, you'll be in Iowa, I'd be like, what? I wouldn't have thought that, But, here I am. So that's another advice, is, be obedient. But thank you all for coming on the Restoration Podcast, which I have to thank again. We'll end this, I promise, eventually. But Dad, thank you for introducing music into my life. It's literally what I do, and I don't know what I'd be doing if I didn't have music. So thank you for that.
Thank God for that. Praise the Lord. He put that in your heart too.
I've always gravitated towards music, always, and you introduced that to me, so thank you
God.
for that.
Praise the Lord for
I
that.
wouldn't, I don't know, I really don't know what I'm not good at nothing else, y'all. Okay, everyone listening, I preached on this a couple years ago. I'm not athletic. I can't draw. I can't spell. I can't write, y'all. I can't act. But thank God I can do music,
Amen.
and so I'm thankful for that. So thank y'all so much. We have, I don't know when this will post, but we've got one more big day with the family. We're going to get some updated family pictures. Maybe we'll post some. And then y'all have a long 18-hour drive, 18 hours
18 hours.
back to Houston. A lot of people were they said, we want your family to move here. We love them. All the young at heart people said, we want them to come back. And then it was really, really nice having help with the bilingual service. This is the last thing I'll say, I promise. First of all, I want to give thanks to our worship volunteers. They've been so flexible in learning, or at least trying to sing in Spanish for that service. But none of them are fluent like Miriam. And it was, Tori told me, she goes, man, it was so nice having 2 strong Spanish singers today. It was so nice. And then Dad interpreted today as well in the back for that service. So Dad, thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Glad to do it for the
And
Lord.
so it was so nice. And then we sang together. It was just so great. And I told Tori before we took a nap today, I was like, wouldn't that be cool if Mom and Dad my family lived here? And she's like, that'd be amazing. Well, anyway, I don't know when you'll come back, but you were always welcome in Iowa. Everyone's waiting to see you again already. They're asking when you're coming back. I think maybe the next time we're together is me and Tori will probably go down to Houston. So be ready for that. So, all right. Okay, you guys, we're going to go. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to follow Restoration Podcast on Spotify and Apple. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe.